Yeah, our first canner of carrots has cooled down now to 0 pounds pressure. So we're going to pull this off. You can see there's a little bit of pressure there. We might give it a minute. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I'll open the canner and just set the lid right there. And while it's cooling down even more, we're going to fill the potato jars. These potatoes have cooked for 10 minutes and they're ready to go in the jars. The oven is set at 190 degrees, which is not boiling, but at least the jars are warm. We need 6 jars to fill this next canner with the 13 carrots pints we have set up already. As soon as I get these jars out of this canner, those are going in there, and we'll put these potatoes with the new canner and fill it so it has 19 pints. Okay, so this is pretty basic. Takes about 3 of these scoops to fill a pint jar. With potatoes, you want to leave 1-inch headspace. It's about right. To the bottom, at least to the bottom of the threads. You don't want to overfill the potatoes. In 1 pint, we put half a teaspoon of ground Himalayan pink salt. We're going to fill it with the water that they were cooked in. It's still boiling hot, up to 1 inch. We're just below the bottom of the threads, right there. And since it's hot, there shouldn't be any problems with bubbles. Clean the top of that jar and set it off to the side over here. Grab another jar out of the oven. These are red potatoes. Our last batch we cooked were just little teeny tiny potatoes, and so we didn't peel them. Maybe one more. That's good. And fill. These are larger potatoes, so I went ahead and peeled them. Not only did I peel them, but I made them pretty nice by taking out some of the blemishes. Okay, clean the top of the rim, set it off over here. Pull out another jar. We have a lot of potatoes this year, so we will continue canning potatoes, just not tonight. It's already 6 o'clock and it's not really time to start another batch. We'll maybe do some more tomorrow. We also have some squash we want to do. Okay. Put a little water in that too. We might have to make some boiling water if there's not enough water to cover all these in the pan. Right there, that's good. Let's see, we need to pull out a couple of potatoes like that. That looks good. Clean the rim. Continue until these are all gone. Okay, we're going to remove the lid totally and take all these jars out of the canner and set over here on a towel. Best a towel, paper towel, cloth, something anyway that's not going to be so cold as the hard counter, so that the bottom of the jar doesn't crack. Okay, You see down in there the divider. We'll pull the divider out that we use for the pints to stack. And you can see the water level is probably 2/3 of the way up. You only put a couple of inches, maybe 2 or 3 inches of water in the bottom of these canners when you're steaming. I'll go ahead and pull these out. This water is in the pressure cooker is probably a little bit hot for the carrots, because the carrots have now been out of the pot for 20 minutes and they're starting to be cool. Like, I can hold on to these. That's not very hot, so if I put that in this boiling water, it might be just a little bit too much. So I'm going to dump out the hot water, or just probably add some cold water to this and bring the level up. It's just less than 2 inches. We'll bring it back up to 2.5 inches. That will cool this water down just enough that we can put the carrots in. The potatoes are really hot. Okay, yeah, that's probably perfect. So I can put my hand in that and that's not going to be so bad. All right, let's move that over into position and turn it up all the way up to high. Crank that up to high. Our lids are hot. I've already cleaned all the tops of these jars. We'll pull this out, put on there. All of the jars already have their salt and they're already filled with liquid up to the threads, which is about a 1-inch headspace. That's warm. Got some of that water off. Now I can get to them better. They probably don't need to be terribly warm. I just got them sitting here and where we boiled the water, and then I turned the burner off. It's hot water. Two on that one. I think there's 2 there. Yes. Pull that one out. 2 on a jar. We should have just enough. These other jars are sealing already. That's a good sign. Need 2 more. And there they are. So you might notice how tight I'm making these. Some people really wrench. This is how tight I make them, just like that, and then we stop. And they work just fine. Finger tight like that. It's snug, but it's not wrenched on there, because in the past, if we wrenched, like with my wrist, if I tightened it that tight, the lids would bulge and they would kink, because the pressure in the jar can't equalize with the pressure outside in the canner. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put the spacer on there. Like that. Set these on top. Something doesn't seem right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, I wonder if there's just not 9 in the bottom. Did we make too many? No. Okay, we just have one too many jars. Well, I counted wrong. 2, 3. That looks good. Okay, one more ring. Actually, we can fit one more in the top. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Seems to be plenty of room to actually put 10 in the top with this type of jar. Some jars might be thicker around, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that since I've got it made anyway. Very good. We'll put the top on. Let that work to come up to a boil and build to 10 pounds pressure, and as soon as it gets to 10 pounds pressure, because normally we would do 25 minutes for the carrots, but because there's 6 jars of potatoes in there, we're going to do 40 minutes at 10 pounds pressure. Okay, this batch is up to 10 pounds pressure. So we're going to turn the heat down quite a ways, all the way down to simmer, and it'll probably keep it at 10 pounds. We'll set the timer. The ball book says 35 minutes for pints. And the checkered red book says 30 minutes. We'll go 35 instead of 40 since we're not doing quarts. We'll do 35 minutes for pints. Start it. If this gets out of hand, you just slide the whole cooker over for a second, off the burner. And it pulls it back down to 10. You don't want to be up into the danger zone. You just want to keep it into the 10 to 15 range. This canner is done with its 35-minute processing, and the pressure is down to about 3 pounds. Another few minutes and we'll go ahead and open the lid, let the lid sit there for a second, and then unload the jars, and the canning for today will be finished. Okay, so we're down to 0. This is 0. I can pull that off. I've already taken that off. So we're going to disconnect the lid and just set it here for a moment and let things continue to cool down for a few minutes, probably 4 or 5 minutes. All right, let's take this off. Pull all these out. They look really nice. every one of those are sealed. None of the jars are buckled. You can see a slight bulge, but no buckling. Buckling means the lid had bulged so much that it kinked. That happens because they're over full. That happens because the lid is too tight. Oh, got a broken jar. Wow. Oh, shoot. Turn that over. Make sure we don't lose that. What a mess. It broke so clean. Darn, we have a broken jar. Shoot. Here's the other half. Okay, we'll pull out the spacer. Continue unloading the jars. A few carrots in the bottom. These are the potatoes. Some carrots still down there. All the jars are starting to seal already. Two more. Like that. Yeah, that's too bad. Lose a jar of carrots. And a jar, period. All right, so I think we're done. Everything looks really nice.